Thank you for choosing Morning at NTV this 6th day of September 2016. Joining me on Everyday Life, we are talking English and writing, and I'm joined by Professor Harriet Masembe and Jude Erupu as we talk about playwriting. Professor Harriet Masembe, many may not know you exactly, but they have watched Consequences, and you actually wrote the storyline for that movie in the late 80s, I believe. Was it in the late 80s?
I wrote it in 88 and they filmed it around 89.
Yeah, I'm sure so many people of my generation at least remember Richard and Rita and the message that was brought so beautifully through that film. And Jude, you are a playwright who has just won the 25th, is it, BBC playwriting competition?
The 25th International BBC Playwriting Competition with the BBC World Service.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Well, I'll start with you, Professor. You have taught the English language and how to write. What do you make of writing right now in 2016 in our schools?
Well, I have visited some primary schools, so let me begin with the elementary primary school.
Yes.
I visited a primary 7 class and taught for 2 weeks in that school. What I observed is that the students are too many in one room. That P7 in that school has 70 students in one classroom and another stream of 70 students in the second room. So one teacher is responsible for both. If you have 140 students as an English teacher, it is impossible to assign long paragraphs or even short paragraphs, so they are writing sentences. Sometimes they are just choosing the correct answer, A, B, C. So they don't get the practice of writing paragraphs, later on essays that they need right from P7. And when we get to the high school, the only essay they write is for the general paper in A level as part of their requirements. Students work towards the exam. If they know in the exam, I don't have to write an essay, they don't worry about it. Also, if you've got too many in the high school classes as well, writing needs smaller classes where you can go over every sentence and every paragraph and teach the whole structure of the essay. So that is really the problem
that you've seen
in
Uganda schools. Let me ask Jude, who in addition to winning this award, you are actually an English teacher.
Yes.
How many students do you have? How many classes do you teach?
I teach 3 classes.
Okay.
I teach Senior 1 Literature.
Okay.
I teach Senior 4 English Language, and I teach Senior 5 and 6.
On average, how big are your classes?
My classes are between 30 and 50.
So what she's saying, are you actually able to, for instance, 50, are you able to actually read paragraphs of all those 50 students?
Well, you need to be a very trained teacher, very experienced to do such a thing. But I would rather prefer teaching a class between 20 and 25. Because when you have such a class, you're able to interact with your learners well. And also as a teacher, you need to know the learning styles of your learners. You need to know whether they are learners who learn by touching, by seeing, or by listening. So possibly what Professor Masembe is saying is true. We need to train teachers in a better way how to teach English language, because it is the official language that we have at the moment.
Professor Masembe also brings out a very important point, how we know if we're not going to be assessed on a certain subject or a certain area, we don't even bother about it. We only practice what we know we're going to be assessed on. What's your take on that?
My take is that many schools now teach the test. Mostly the schools in Kampala, they teach to the test. You need to teach learners, train them to pass your NAB. Once they're able to pass your NAB, your school is put up there and wow, you are great. But then when we look deep into these learners, when they go to university, they cannot write essays. And I have had these issues even at, I've met students at master's level whose English is a problem. They cannot express themselves. They struggle with their dissertations because they cannot edit them, so they take to other people to help them. But if we are to handle this issue right now, from primary school, then to secondary school, then we may not have that problem at university. Yes.
Okay. Professor Masembe, you've been teaching for over 30 years. What would you say your assessment is? We're now in 2016. Right. When you look at English, are people finding it harder to write? Is it because of the new social media we have where everyone abbreviates? Twitter, we live our lives with 140 characters. Is it the day and age that is bringing more challenges to the English language?
Well, let me point out that writing depends on reading. How much are the students reading short stories, novels? They are not doing that. If you don't read even a newspaper on a daily basis, your writing skills are not going to improve. So one problem is that we don't have enough books for the students to be reading on a daily basis. In a school that is good, every week students are reading a small book in primary 2, 3, 4, and 5. They are reading books. Students are not doing that in the primary school. They are not doing it in the high school where we used to read novels. I remember at Gayaza, we would read at the weekend novels of people that we like, you know, Barbara Cartland. It doesn't matter what the novel is.
Sidney Sheldon.
Yes. We read those novels, and students today are not doing that. They are texting all the time. They are on Facebook, writing those short messages, and not really spending time reading paragraphs.
Well, how can we bring stories back to them? Because there's so much visual, people send videos and, like you say, texting. People find it easier to text, and we have totally forgotten how to spell. It's going to get worse, I believe. Sometimes you write U, the letter U, and it doesn't even occur to you that it is Y or U. You know, right. You just write U, even in formal letters. So what can we do to bring reading back to our schools?
I think
or even at home.
The question is, how much money are we willing to put in the education system? Because given money, every school is able to buy the kind of literature, the kind of books that I'm talking about. But when they don't even have enough textbooks for the students to have one each. In the school where I went to teach that short period, 3 students sit along this desk, and there is one textbook for every 3 students. This one begins, passes it on to the one in the middle, and to the one at the end. So we don't have enough textbooks, let alone extra books to read. It's the money. How much money are we willing to put in these schools?
I'll ask Jude, what do you attribute your winning play to being able to write a winning play?
Well, I just have the passion for writing.
You were taught well, I assume?
Not so well.
Oh,
not
okay.
so well. You wouldn't believe that I went to a rural primary school where your teachers...
Do you mind telling us which district?
Kabiramaido district.
Okay.
Yes, Kabiramaido district.
So those watching can know that even from Kabiramaido you can write a...
It is possible,
yeah.
Yes, because it's all about your passion, okay? I took time to start writing on my own, and I could go to my teachers. I took time to disturb them. I would like to use the word disturb, because the teachers by that time would not want a learner to go and ask them so many questions or challenge them.
Yeah.
But I had to go and take a step, ask the teachers, what is happening here? How can I write this better? How can I do this? And I started reading different books. I used to read whenever I was asked to read maybe science, you'd find me reading a literature novel. So that was an opportunity that opened my mind to start writing.
Okay, so you challenged yourself basically.
Yes, I challenged myself.
And you took it upon yourself to teach yourself, to improve your English.
Yes.
What does this win for you mean?
It means that I have managed to realize a dream. I've managed to exercise a talent, which I believe will change the lives of so many people. I believe I can be an inspiration to most of the people who have been sitting back there thinking that it is not possible. Writing is actually a skill. Writing is a talent. but a skill that can be taught, just like Professor Masembe is saying. And also writing can change the lives of people.
In your school, how are you encouraging the young ones to read more?
Well, we give the learners an opportunity to go to the library. We give them.
Do you have enough books? Because she was saying that you need a.
Our school has books.
Okay.
Our school has books. I wouldn't say they don't have books.
Okay.
Yes, so the reading culture can sometimes be low, but you encourage them to go and read.
How do you encourage?
Books. Well, I give them novels. I assign novels to them. I give them inspirational books. I tell them to summarize them, to make sure that they have read. They summarize and come and present in class what they have read. Then we have managed to open a book club at school where students come and read, and they discuss different characters, how they can relate them to life.
Okay.
And they can write their own stories. We have published newsletters at school to help the learners who have talent, to expose them, and it has been exciting. Okay.
Professor Masembe, as an English professor, an African storyteller, and a teacher, you actually offer some coaching, should I call it? You offer some help, some classes?
Tutoring, because here in Uganda, I came back because I felt that there is something I can offer after 30 years of teaching. I run a program of writing that is available for everyone. You could be the person who graduated, but you can't write a job application essay. You can't write your CV. You come to me, we sit down on a one-on-one, and I can help you with the CV. I can help you with the job application letter. You could be the student who is going to write that essay in S6. I can arrange individual one-on-one to look at your writing and plan for 2 or 3 weeks. You come twice a week. We work on this program, this problem, and this problem. You could be the person who says, when I finish my high school here, I want to go overseas. I want to apply to colleges in the United States and in the UK. Guess what? In order to apply and be admitted in any university or any community college in the US, you have to submit a 5-paragraph essay. Not 1 paragraph, but 5-paragraph essay. I am here to help you to prepare how to write those kind of essays that the American colleges and colleges in the UK required to admit you. So I'm running a 2 weeks program next week and the following week in a school called New King David. You contact me for details. But in New King David, I want those who want to learn how to write an essay, whether you are in S6, whether you are in S4, whether you want to apply to colleges overseas, I'll help you. I am also going to bring in students that are going to sit their P7 exam, and I have prepared for them to have those 2 weeks a teacher who will focus on their grammar. And there could be beginners who say, I never learned English. We are going to help the beginners. So the beginners, the P7, the S4 and 6, and those who want to apply for colleges overseas, I have the program to 15, September 19 to 22nd in New King David High School, secondary school.
And they can contact you. Your email address is hmmasembe.
Mirembe.
Sorry, Mirembe.
The telephone is what people use because they don't have email. 0775 603626.
Okay. Very quickly, as we wind up, Professor, I want to ask you, I'm sure you're aware that in Uganda now, the government wants the first levels of primary school to be taught in the local language. What do you think that how do you think that will impact our speaking of English?
Well, there's nothing wrong with starting the language at age 1 and 2 and 3 because we started learning
up to 7, let's say 8.
Yes, and we learned in Luganda. It didn't stop us from learning English.
Oh.
We don't want to say focus on English and forget Luganda. or forget Lunyankole, Ruchiga. No, those languages are very important. In fact, I have a book of Luganda, Engerozafe,
Yes.
so that parents can be reading the stories in Luganda. You cannot say to the child, you have to speak in English because you need it in school. They will learn that language from age 2 and
But then
3.
how will they perfect their English?
Well, we did. I was speaking Luganda all my primary school, and we are learning step by step how to speak and write English. It didn't stop me by S4 to be able to write an essay, to read Shakespeare, to read Jane Austen. You need both the local language, Luganda, Lunyoro Rutoro, you need Lusoga, you need Luo, you need all your local languages.
Well, thank you very much. We've run out of time, but I think you had great teachers then, because right now people think those who speak English from the start will have a better advantage than those who pick up English a little bit later. But thank you for sharing your insights. And Jude, once again, congratulations. We do hope once you return from the UK, we will be hearing more about you
Thank
and
you so much,
the next project that you will be taking on.
Thank you,
We will be
Mabel.
taking a short break, but sport